Hello and welcome to Carlos and Lisa. I'm Lisa Remillard.
And I'm Carlos Amesquitz. Nice to have you with us. All right, we are very real people here, but the robots are coming. The robots are coming.
You're not AI?
Not yet.
Artificial intelligence as of yet?
I'm artificial, but not very intelligent.
Okay, so listen, I mean, technically the robots are already here in terms of AI. We see it with our smartphones. We see it with technology. It's causing a lot of problems, even here in Los Angeles County and especially at the ports.
Yeah, let's focus on the ports. I mean, you already have all kinds of automation going on, but hundreds of dock workers are about to lose their jobs because shipping giant Maersk announced it would introduce driverless cargo carriers to replace the ones who are currently being driven by humans.
All right, so here's the thing. The automation is not limited to jobs at the ports. It is all over the place. You've been hearing a lot about it. Manufacturing jobs, even receptionist jobs are at risk. Lower skill, repetitive motion jobs are the most in danger, and many of those jobs, studies say, are held by women.
Yeah, in fact, artificial intelligence expert just told 60 Minutes AI will replace 40% of jobs within the next 15 years. And I mean, I've seen at the grocery store, you have self-checkout. That's a form of robot.
Yeah, it is.
That's, you know, you do it yourself and the robot sort of gives you your change and everything.
And the company does that, of course, to save money because it's expensive to operate a business in this country in this day and age. And so by doing that at the grocery store, then you eliminate the need to pay a pay a clerk to check you out.
Lots to talk about here, especially
There's a lot.
The union side, the worker job, and then the future of companies and the sustaining of these companies.
Right. Because we all want to work, right? Because we all want to survive. So joining us to talk more about automation, what it means for your job, career guy Darrell Gurney is here. Hello, Darrell.
Hi, Darrell.
Hi.
All right, so you're the career guy. You advise people on these types of things. You help, executive coach people through these issues. Tell me what your thoughts are on how to protect jobs in the face of automation.
Well, how to protect jobs is protecting your own job, and how you protect your own job is be thinking about your future with your job. See, I grew up in Southeast Texas, where we had refineries, and everybody just went to work for the refiner. I can imagine the same thing in Detroit, when you grew up with cars, or Kentucky with the coal mines. But that was back in the days where a job was a job, and you could be there forever. Things aren't that way anymore. So I think the biggest thing is for people to take upon themselves to always be growing and developing. And so what happens, like when you talk about like the port, and I live in Long Beach, these, people are, there will be people displaced by this. Here's the tough thing. Our country has gone through a lot of revolutions. Okay, there was a steam engine. Right? There was the electricity. There was computers. These are the first three revolutions. The revolution they call right now, the fourth revolution, is AI. So it's coming. It is going to come. It's not going to slow down. So I empathize, with people who are looking at their job being lost. And at the same time, what I think everyone needs to take upon themselves is educating and upskilling themselves all the time versus feeling comfortable. We can't feel comfortable.
I think if you're a younger person going into a career, you have to think about what the future of that automation and how it would impact the career or the job that you're seeking. But if you're an older worker and you're nearing retirement age, you're 5 years out, and somebody says, by the way, you're not going to make it to the end of your retirement period, your job's going to be cut, you're going to lose your job. This is what the unions are upset about, because they're taking out those people who have been loyal and hardworking and done their jobs. So the longshoremen, the unions, and in the port are saying, hey, wait a minute, we got to take care of these people. What are you going to do for them? And so as a worker, do you have the responsibility to watch out for yourself and not rely on the unions, not rely on the company?
Here's the thing, back in the old days, you got a gold watch working for someone forever, right? You retired, you got a gold watch. We've seen over the last 20 years that companies are not, they are committed to the bottom line, and to the degree that it supports them, they are committed to the employee. But what I've been saying for years now is that you really got to watch out for yourself. So I guess what I'm saying is, it would be nice, and I think on the employer side, if the companies really take on upskilling, like creating programs, you know. Back in the 90s when aerospace was going out, in the early 90s,
Yeah.
you had the Verdugo Job Center. You had different organizations that were set up by the government to upskill, you know, to upskill the people that were getting displaced. So I think companies do a really good job of their social presence and everything if they take it upon themselves to make those programs available, but you got to look out for yourself.
Okay, so that sounds lovely and flowery, but I want to talk about how do you upskill, because Carlos makes a good point that, you know, somebody who's nearing retirement or even somebody who has not entered the workforce yet, what do you do? Where are the areas in which AI can't take your job?
Well, they can't take your job where your human skills for thinking, managing people, intuition, all of that, you know, all the studies are showing that where the jobs are going to be lost or where it's repetitive skills, where it's data, like my wife works for a company that is a medical billing company. Just a few years ago, they moved away from the paper. You know, now they're actually
moving away from the people controlling those numbers.
Well, yeah. The point being is that it got automated.
No, the question.
There is no easy answer. We
Where
know
in the
that.
Where
world
is
is
it
there a
safe?
job that's safe from automation and possibly creative jobs? You know, in the creative industry,
Right.
because that's a particular human skill. But AI really can penetrate virtually anything that we can do. I mean, they're doing intuitive stuff now on AI as well. So, I mean, so you still, I think the human interaction part, I think, is really important.
Well, yeah, but see, HAL was the computer that,
I remember
you know,
that.
in the 2001 Space Odyssey. We're just a long ways away from that. I have a client of mine who actually used some of my techniques to make a transition, and he's working on the side of the intelligence world now that's looking at how AI is going to affect everything. He says it's going to happen. We can't stop it. It's going to be a long time coming. But if, you know, to answer your question, if you can see where you can move up to where your thinking is involved, where your managing of people, where the skills, you know, eventually maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Carlos, that all of us will be replaced. But if right now as a dock worker, right now as someone on a manufacturing facility where the welding is going to be done by a robot, you want to see, you know, go to your company. If they can provide you skills, great. Otherwise, be looking to see how can you get into positions where maybe you're managing those robots. Right. Somebody's got to manage the robot, too.
Right. And like, so I want to take just because we started with the grocery store, we were talking about the grocery store. So let's talk about the grocery store employee who is checking people out at the checkout counter.
Yep.
Now you have the automated ones. So what should that person do?
Well, number one is going to management, looking to see how can I be a contribution with what I know on this. Looking at one of my methods for career transition that I think everybody should use all the time is a way for upskilling, which is getting out into the world, not looking for another job, but looking to see what you're fascinated by, what you're interested in, and connecting with people in those areas. Because see, that person who's the checkout person, let's say she has an interest in knitting, and there's some knitting organizations or there's some knitting companies or something around there. By her going out and through what I call the back door, talking to people about the things she's fascinated by versus looking for a job, what she ends up doing is she ends up bringing the human element in. See, right now, today, the human element is so gone that people are just like resumes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I needed to get at. Thank you so much for your time.
Darrell Gurney,
We
appreciate that very much.